10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 497. Hey everybody, as always, before we dive into the episode, just wanted to remind you all of these episodes are available as YouTube videos on my YouTube channel. So just go on YouTube and search for my name, Nick Maynella. It should be the latest video on the channel. So if you want to see any of these examples that I'm talking about, I always put them on screen, and there are always other visual aids for you. Also, all of the stuff that we talk about in these episodes is always available as PDFs with backing tracks, trading tracks, all kinds of good stuff over on our site, Jazz School. Sign up to support the show with a small monthly donation, and you get everything we talk about in a ready-made package so you can start practicing right away. If you want to know more about that, just click the link in the description, and it will take you over to Jazz School. You get signed up, and then you can decide whether you want to support the channel or not. All right, let's get on to the episode. Hey everybody, and welcome into the last episode in our series on giant steps. So just a reminder to anybody who's stumbling across this video as the first one that they've seen, we've done 3 other episodes on this. And if you haven't checked those out, I highly recommend doing that because we've sort of worked our way up to this point. Okay, so over the first 3 episodes, we talked about building fluency, like organic fluency over this tune. Really getting to know the chord changes, develop a familiarity both aurally and under the fingers, and an ability to get through these in several prescribed ways. Now we get to do really fun stuff like take vocabulary from our favorite musicians and how they play over this tune and start to incorporate it into our own playing to find new paths and new and interesting ways to deal with these changes. So we're going to look at 2 musicians today. We're going to look at, of course, John Coltrane, and then we're going to take one from the great Michael Brecker that I think is a really cool piece of vocabulary over the first 8 bars of these changes. Let's dive into the first Coltrane line. So if we were to look at a concert D7 going to a concert G7, he plays this really cool little thing where he starts on the root of the 5 chord and he uses like a little bebop scale pattern where he plays down from the root and then chromatically down to the flat 7. Then he jumps back up to the 9th of that 5 chord, then resolves that to the 5th of the 1 chord, and then plays 5, 3, 2, 1 over that 1 chord. So basically what I want to do is I want to take this piece of vocabulary and test my ability to play it everywhere I possibly can. So everywhere I see a 5 to 1, I'm going to play this little 8-note pattern. So we get a ton of opportunities to do this in giant steps because it's full of 5 to 1 progressions. So if I look at the first line, I've got these 2 opportunities to play it. Obviously the first one is over the D7 to G major. And then the second one is I have a B flat 7 chord that goes to E flat major. So if I simply just played this little piece of vocabulary over both of the opportunities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And actually it leads really nicely into itself when it's following those descending major thirds. And then what I would do after that is I would just flesh it out to the entire chorus, and I would play it everywhere I see a 5 to 1. So there's our first piece of vocabulary. Here's our second one. I noticed that Trane likes to do this when he sees a long 2-5-1, such as at the end of the first line, concert A minor 7 to D7 to G major. He likes to play basically a complete bebop scale starting on the root of the 5 chord. So he starts on that concert D, and he plays down the entire dominant bebop scale. And you'll notice that when he does that, he lands on beat 1 on the note he started on, which is the 5th over the 1 chord. And then he plays this cool thing where he plays the 5, jumps up to the 4, and lands on the 3. And I love this because it's like so basic. You can tell I like the sound of these dominant bebop scales. But this gives us another opportunity to play this everywhere we can. But the thing about this one is, really we only want to be playing it over the full 2-5-1 progressions, which happen mostly in the second half of the tune. So if I were to improvise over the measures that don't have a long 2-5-1 and then try to put this line in over the measures that do, it might sound something like this. All right, third and final piece of vocabulary. This one is over the first 2 lines of the progression, and I think it's just genius, played by the great Michael Brecker. And this line is really interesting, so let's dive into it. So he starts out by playing just a triad descending. Triads. I think we've talked about that before. So he starts out just going 5-3-1-5. Then, over the dominant chord, he's going to play another triad, but he's going to play a minor triad based off of the 5th of that dominant chord. So over a concert D7 chord, he's playing an A minor triad, but in the exact same pattern. Then that leads us again to playing just a regular major triad. And then the exact same thing over the next dominant chord, a minor triad based off of the 5th. And then we land on that 5th again, but this time he does his 5-3-2-1 pattern. Goes down, touches the 7th, and comes back to the root. Check out how this sounds. It sounds amazing. And the really cool part about this line is it's all based off of voice leading. Voice leading. I think we've talked about that this month as well. So if you look, each new chord starts on a note a half step below the chord before it. So that voice leading that we've been talking about so much is built in there, but his understanding of it is so good that he's taking that voice leading and he's building off of it to play these really cool triads. So this piece of vocabulary is a perfect example of what really learning that voice leading can do for you. Now, again, because I'm only using this over the first 2 lines, over the second half of the tune, I'm just going to improvise, but I'm going to try to put that piece of vocabulary over the places I have an opportunity to do it. Okay, so there's 3 pieces of vocabulary that I love over giant steps. You can feel free to practice these if you find any of them cool. But the idea here is that now we have a good understanding of giant steps. We're starting to have some freedom over it. Now we want to study our favorite players. We want to start to understand some of their ideas and anything that really, really grabs us that we'd like to be able to do. We want to start to memorize that stuff and put it into action. Age-old jazz tradition, learning the vocabulary and applying it. Okay, so that about does it for our series on giant steps. I hope you enjoyed all this stuff, and I hope that if you practice this stuff this month, you have found some new fluency over this, and maybe this tune is a little bit less intimidating to you. Remember, you can get all the materials so you can start working on this stuff right away by visiting the link in the description. Jazz School is totally free, so you can come over and get signed up for that group, and then once you're in, you can decide on whether you want to support the channel. To everybody that's doing that, thank you so much. We cannot do this without you, and it just makes sure that we can keep coming out with this stuff week after week. All right, everybody, let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for hanging, and we'll see you soon on another episode. Bye.